Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown and analysis. Today, I want to talk to you about, it's been a while since I've been on camera. There's been a lot of stuff up, so to review, you have all the last year's film, the game films and breakdowns we did. That's sorted by team if you want to look at last year's stuff. At the end of the season, we did kind of accumulation of good things like, hey, the top sack players in the league, the guys who scored the most touchdowns, here's every interception for a touchdown. A lot of league stuff is also in there sorted for you to watch. We've put out 5 podcasts the last couple of weeks, so that's kind of try to do one of those a week. It's been a lot of fun, but I haven't been in camera for a while talking about what's going on. So I have been watching a lot of film, and I want to kind of teach you guys a little bit about how different coverages get exploited by certain pass concepts. So now this is going to utilize film from last year, film from a couple of years ago, and kind of utilize, hey, when teams play cover 4 or middle open, this is how you expose them. And these are, I'm going to use examples from all different teams. So I think it's been a pretty cool exercise. I've been working on that. So today, let's talk about what I would call a middle play. And I'm going to put somebody in the middle of the field. I'm going to move everybody out of the way and get a guy wide open down the middle of the field. And I think sometimes when you guys are watching the TV copy, you just don't know when you're on TV. It's like, how did that guy get that wide open? The first clip I just showed you before we started this with Sean Bain Jr. going touchdown week 1. How does he get that open? Sometimes a combination of things. You've called the right pass play to exploit a coverage. And usually the defense, it may be hard for the defense to handle, but they do have an answer, and they just don't get their eyes right as defensive backs. This concept we're going to talk about, I got like 5 or 6 different teams running. I call them middle plays, and we are all thieves of each other in the coaching business. So for me, the first time I saw this play run was, I'm going to show a clip as I talk about it, 2011 Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus Hamilton. I think we're 6-0 at the time, playing a really good Hamilton team coached by Marcel Belfay. And we played a lot of what's called match coverage. We played 90% of that on second and long. So they knew what we'd be in, and they designed a play to take the middle of the field, to go under, and then go to the middle of the field, and there was nobody over there. Bakari Grant, huge touchdown. We went on to win that game 30-27 to go 7-1 in 2011. But I never forgot about that play, and I'm like, we need to put that in when we face a team playing quarters or match coverage. So I used to do it in 17, 18, 19, and again, I've seen it a lot last year. So I thought it'd be a neat thing to kind of break it down, show you it from the playbook, show you it from coverage, and how teams attack it. And then let's watch some film of all the different teams in the league. There's like 5 teams that ran it last year for success. So one more thing before I go, please subscribe to the page. We're at about 1,700 followers now. I think it started out with 50 last year, but a lot of people watch but don't subscribe. And subscribing helps support the page in a number of avenues. And the other thing is, it's called turning your notifications on, so that alerts you as we post new stuff. And when you watch more stuff, that helps drive the page to other people. And again, there's not a lot of CFL content out there, so please do those things for me. There's a lot of people who watch but they don't subscribe or turn notifications on, so please do that to help support. It doesn't cost anything. All right, let's take a look. Okay, I've got cover 4 superimposed on this playbook page. This is what I would call spear carp X middle. This is from the playbook a couple of years ago in the middle open, middle closed section. Now, I'm going to show you why. 3, 2, 1. I've drawn cover 4 over the top of one of the pass concepts. This is the middle play that I've run in my career and had success with. So let's show you what the pattern concept does versus the coverage. So let's start to the wide side of the field. Let's start over here to these 2 players. Okay, and I'm going to delete everybody off the screen not to confuse us. Okay, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to have 2 low players in cover 4. So what's going to happen is this receiver is going to get underneath, and he's going to sit between the linebackers to be a check down. Long story short, really simple. He's going to be an underneath player. He's going to sit at 5 to 6 yards in zone and be available to the quarterback. Same thing with this football player. He's going to come down, and if he sees this zone player in zone not chasing, he's going to bang it out if he sees a low halfback. So that's a read route. He's going to stay outside in the open zone because they expect those two people to be in the deep quarters. So that's what's happened to the wide side of the field. Now, let's teach you what happens here. And what's important for this player right here on free safety. So you see I have a dotted line on this pattern, or this route, individual route, that it's a corner route or it's something more vertical. And what that means, and I call this an adjustable 6, they're going to have to read coverage. If there's a zone player sitting over the top of you, your job is to take him and pull him out of the way of the middle of the field. If he is so high, if he keeps getting depth, you just keep running through his shoulder and make him higher than anything else, any other route developing. So there's one of two things he can do. If he sees this guy bites the cheese and goes with him in zone, he pulls him down and gets him out of the way to create more room in the middle of the field to run after the catch. If he just stays there, like I talked about, he goes to the middle field. And his rule is if there's a middle closed, if he's in the dead middle, well, he's not going to try to influence him. If it's a middle closed look, he's just going to run a corner route, and we may throw him the ball. So that's what happens to the wide side of the field. I'm going to erase all the strokes. Okay, to this side of the field, you have 3 underneath people in cover 4. He's a quarter player, he's a quarter player, he's an underneath player. So what happens by the Ranger here, okay, which is the boundary number 2? He's got basically the same read as the field number 3. I call this an adjustable 6. He's going to run right through that player and get him higher. Or if that guy opens his hips and starts to go with him, he'll bend him over in that direction. Okay, you'll see right here I actually have a route drawn. That's a variation I've done on this play where you try to get him to capture, to move out of the way, then you sit it down to be an outlet with the quarterback, something I saw the Green Bay Packers doing a lot. But normally when I ran this route, this was another adjustable corner route where he ran through and got that guy higher or he pulled him away. And the key for him is to make sure he stays attached to that halfback. He does not want to go to this player. Okay, that's what happens with that route. The X is running an under, and he's trying to get the will linebacker to go, oh, this is an under route, so I'm not going to get too much depth. But the will linebacker should be getting depth. You teach the X to go at the upfield shoulder at the will linebacker, and then by the time you get 2 to 3 yards from him, you break to the middle of the field. And you're trying to stay away from the safety on this hash because the quarterback can't see him. The quarterback can see this one because that's where his eyes are going to be. So you stay as close to this space and let the quarterback throw you in the middle of the field. And I'll erase that and draw that a little bit better for you. Really important on this side of the field for 2 people. This player has got to capture him and don't break out too early because the corner could take him. Why? Because the X went under. So now the corner's like, there's nobody else here. And that could allow the halfback to jump into that space. So you do not want to flatten this. You want to stay as high as you can. The corner starts to come this way, but the halfback can't let it go. The will takes this one. The X runs at him. He's got to be slow enough to give the inside slot enough time, and he runs as close as he can. The more that guy vacates, the more space he can take. He's trying to stay away from that player recovering. And that's it. The quarterback, if you look at the reads, it'll say it's a middle open read, and the next thing is progression. So if it's middle open, okay, we've got a bird there, a bird there, a bird there, a bird there. We are trying to see, is he wide open to here, to there? That would be the progression. Now, as it's drawn up in this picture, I call this what I call a bite route. The Green Bay Packers would do it this way, possibly. Okay, I didn't run this a lot. I just had it in the playbook. All right. If it's middle closed and there's, say it's man coverage, guy here, it's middle closed because they're all in man coverage. He's now going to run a corner route, and now the quarterback is going to try to throw the corner to read underneath it. Okay, that's spear X middle. Okay, let's take a look at a different way of running this. Once again, this is a middle open concept for me. Spear W middle with a backside knife. We're still trying to attack the same area of the field. I got it superimposed versus a coverage. Let's erase all that and start over and teach you everything. Let's start to the boundary. So I call this route, this is a corner route, or I call it a 6 route as a corner route with a middle override. If you hear the term middle, you have a different job versus zone coverage. If it's man coverage and middle closed, you just run a corner route. But if you know this is a zone player, and a high zone player, your job is to run right through his outside shoulder and get him higher. And if he actually opens his hips, you can bend him and open his hips away from where the ball is going to be thrown. You do not want to bend so flat that this corner sinks and then tries to take your route and free up the halfback to go to the middle of the field. Very important. We do not want to bend this. We want to run right through that halfback and get him either higher or his hips turned away from where the ball's going. And he runs a hitch, and he's available to the quarterback. Okay. Front side. Let's talk about the 2 quarter route players. So there's 2 deep players there. There's 1, there's 2. Now, I got this as a bite route, which is something I practiced with a little bit, something I saw the Packers do, like I said before, but normally it was just an adjustable corner route with your read coverage. So if he sees the free safety in cover 4, he's going to bend at him, go right through his shoulder, and try to get him in that direction. He's going to try to turn him away from the middle of the field. If the free safety's lined up right over him, he could go right through his shoulder and just get him higher than the middle route. The key he does not want to do is, in case that player's here and he wants to sink inside, you do not want to run over to the corner. You want to do everything to capture this free safety and get him higher or turned away. Okay? That's what happens. And the underneath route, this is going to find zone and be available to the quarterback. If that player is a low player, he's going to, what I would call, adjust this route and sit outside. And let's get to the middle route. You've got a middle linebacker and a Sam linebacker. So this W receiver is going to run down, give the slot enough time to cancel out the high player, get him turned away. He's going to attack the upfield shoulder of that linebacker as he starts to spot drop to his zone, and he's going to jump to the middle of the field. When he jumps over the Sam, look at how this is drawn. He doesn't jump out here. He has to stay right to the middle of the field, almost to the right goalpost, because the quarterback cannot see what's happening over here. He can see the relationship between the free safety and that route. He cannot see this relationship. So he trusts that his teammate does his job to get him higher and middle open, and then he throws it right over the Sam and the Mike linebacker. So that's another middle play. Now, let's go back. Well, what if it's middle closed? What if there's a free safety sitting right there in the middle of the field? Well, you can, normally that could be cover 3. That could be man coverage. So then you would go, okay, take this guy in a corner route versus man, because he's not going to run through him unless it's zone. Or take this bite route. Or if that stayed a corner, throw the corner route versus man. So that's the middle concept. I got a bunch of film. Let's take a look at some film of it. Okay, let's take it to the video and show you a middle open beater. There's my 1 safety. There's my 2 safeties. Nobody in the middle of the field. So you've got a positive for running what you want to do. Let's start all the way up to the field here. They're going to run a corner route with an under and another under. But this corner route is trying to move that player out of the way. Bend him down. Now, I don't love how he bends this like this. He's too short. I would keep running right at that guy's shoulder, and I'll show you why at the end. Okay, up top of the screen, this is an X middle. He's going to go up, and he's going to run a corner route, and watch the X. Goes right to the middle of the field. So what are they trying to do? It's a time and space play. Run at the will linebacker and go to the middle of the field. Get that player to open his hips, throw over the top of the linebackers with anticipation. Great shot play. Now, you want to throw touchdowns? Do it the correct way. What should have happened is he should have kept going and running straight at that shoulder the whole time. Don't turn into a corner when he's a high player there. Same thing here. And that could have gotten their eyes a little bit longer on you, and then they don't make this play right here. So you got to do the details right on these zone pass plays to score touchdowns. We don't want to get completions. We want touchdowns, but wide open X middle play from last season. Okay, next middle play. This is probably 2018 for me. I started running this play back 17 again after I saw other teams run it to me back in 2011. So same thing. There it is. Move people out of the way and throw the ball to the middle of the field. Okay, it's a little bit harder how many linebackers they got. He's going to drive up. Dressler's trying to run through that player. Flanders is trying to move him in that direction, and Darvin shows up. Usually puts one of your tallest guys over the top of the linebackers for the catch. Go back to the same season, I believe. This is Andrew Harris. This is a different way of running it. We ran it out of the backfield. So we ran him in the middle of the field to cancel him. He's going to go cancel that player. And then we kind of knew how these guys tried to run out of the middle of the field. So we sent Andrew Harris on the middle. If you watch, they tried to have Andrew in protection. We changed our protection to let Andrew slip right through. So there's a middle of the field, one with the tailback. Calgary, last season. So everybody I saw a lot of people run this last season. This is kind of neat to be able to show. Now this is to the wide side of the field. Similar concept though. This would be a Z middle because this is the Z receiver. His job is going to be to cancel that player, keep him out of the way. His job is going to be to cancel that high player, try to keep him there, and then he's going to go right to the middle of the field. Good job by the linebacker getting involved, and Terrell Ford recognizes it, picks it up man-to-man. You would have loved this receiver right here. I'm not sure if that's Michelle or not, or who that is. Should have gone right over the top to force a little bit of a pick. And good play by the defense. Saskatchewan Roughriders. We already saw the Elks score a touchdown on it. Same game. Week 1 of the season. Okay? Sean Bain Jr. has 3 touchdowns in this game, but watch this one. There ain't a soul around him right there. This is just X middle. So he should be running. Again, I would be telling my guys, do not go away from that shoulder. See how he kind of bends it down? Don't do that because the corner can now take that one and he should be now hunting up. This halfback should have seen this. He's going out. I got to stay inside because that's the new inside threat to the quarters. So he should have just stayed run. I don't know how they taught it, but that's how I teach it. Stay right vertical there. He goes underneath the will, right up to the middle of the field. Now, you go to the wide side of the field. This is what I would call their quarter poach, where this guy's poaching. He's waiting for a dig from number 3. So look, his back is turned. He has no eyes to what's happening in the middle of the field. This is not cover 3. He has to handle, this player has to handle the inside route, even though it's in a delay. And that's what makes this play so difficult. But this is week 1. Edmonton already had a huge play on it. Here comes Sask, same play. Here comes the Elks against Calgary later in the season. An X middle once again. Versus 2 deep man under. Okay, let's review that. What is 2 deep? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in man-to-man. He's man on him. And 2 deep safeties. Those 2 deep safeties, it's still a middle open. So it's a good read for the quarterback. So he's going to run him out of the way, trying to cancel that safety. He's going to run right through that safety. And he makes a little bit of move and then breaks to the middle of the field. And there it is. Once again, I would be telling this receiver to run through him. Don't allow him to leave. But there it is, middle of the field. Good read, recognition by McLeod. Puts it on him. Nice touchdown. Easy play. The Hamilton Tiger Cats versus the Bombers. So as you see, everybody in the league either sees this, has their own version of it, tries to keep running their middle play. All right, there it is. Okay, they do it a little bit differently. He's trying to cancel that player and get him to move. He's trying to angle and he angles out and then back this way to keep him high. So they're trying to take two with this receiver. So instead of just running him here through his upfield shoulder, he angles out, but then he does end up back here. So watch the receiver on the middle. He's going to run under and then take it upfield. Huge space, good location, good throw. Calgary once again. Watch what Calgary does here. Motioning down. And again, they keep doing it versus Winnipeg's getting a lot of these because Winnipeg plays a lot of middle open. Little bit of a variation of a middle. He goes here. He goes here. Watch. I'm calling this a middle because he goes under and then he attacks the linebacker and goes straight up to the middle of the field, kind of like we did with the back. There you go. So I like the quarterback move the safety with his eyes. Gets the shot in the middle of the field. Here's the Ottawa Red Blacks running it. So every team in the CFL has some type of, it's a copycat league, or every football is a copycat sport. There it is, touchdown. Okay, how was this done? Number 3 is going to cancel in the middle of the field. Try to take anybody out. Number 2 is going to go up and pull somebody in that direction. So you pull people in these directions. Somebody comes in the wake and then releases. And the key is the underneath has to take time. You want to go slow to allow the top be taken off the coverage, to allow that guy to move. And again, I would be telling the receiver, go through that way. Here's the worst case scenario. He bent it down so the corner can take it so he can free up. So he should have run right through him, because it doesn't matter whether you pull him away. It just matters if he gets higher than the middle route. Right? Because he should have run right through him the entire way. I love what they do here at number 3. Number 3 cancels right there. Now, if we would have had somebody there, it would have been a better cancel. Throw it over. Jalen Acklin, nice catch. So here it is. I got 9 clips here of all different teams running this concept because there's so much middle of the field open in the Canadian Football League.